say this about Soulja Boy. Y'all gotta give him a little bit of latitude because he a victim. And he been ran through quite a bit. They was playing tapes, and then the owner of the house pulled out Soulja Boy tape. That's why he's always able to call other on being a swish. Birds of a feather flock together.
Get in your position. What? I got on MySpace and YouTube and grinded as a teenager in the hood, and I made it. And you mad because you had to get in your ass. You had to suck.
Soulja Boy, he been canceled. He nobody cares Soulja Boy. So Soulja Boy better go to get that check. Yeah, I don't think he had hits and
It's been a minute.
It's been a while. He don't care.
You thought Soulja Boy was only beefing with Marlon Wayans? Wrong. This man ain't just caught in a comedy clash. He's drowning in a closet full of secrets, and that door just got kicked wide open. What started off as a tiny throwaway radio joke has snowballed into a spotlight exposing Soulja's most hidden scandals, and the mess runs way deeper than anyone imagined.
What were your thoughts when 50 Cent blamed the second season ratings dip on gay stuff?
First of all, the pot calling the kettle black is all I'm saying.
Soulja Boy, he been canceled. He nobody cares Soulja Boy. So Soulja Boy better go to get that check. Yeah, I don't think he had hits and
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
So why did Soulja snap so hard? Easy. When you're allegedly hiding as much as Big Draco, even the smallest jab feels like a full-blown takedown. That's why he jumped on X and unleashed that meltdown post, ranting, "I can't believe I'm arguing with a dude but dressed up like a white chick. What the F is wrong with me?" He thought that was a clapback, but Marlon, being the seasoned comedy vet, flipped it right back and poked holes in Soulja's image. And wow, that shiny image started crumbling fast. Here's the wild part. The industry has been whispering for years about contradictions in Soulja's lifestyle. But now, those whispers are getting louder, turning into full-blown stories. Remember when William DeBass popped up on Tasha K's podcast? He didn't just talk. He came loaded with alleged receipts. He described Soulja's condo down to the furniture placement, the bottles stacked in his liquor cabinet, even tattoos on Soulja's body that fans have never seen in public photos. That's the kind of detail you don't just pull out of thin air, and people were left speechless.
I loved it. I had some it was Louis, it was everything, and it was perfect. And he was like, "Take this, you white." Like he kept he's very into the race play stuff. But here's the thing, I don't know if this was really him or it was drunk him.
I'm telling y'all I'm not. What you want me to? What the wrong with y'all? They said to the left, bro, anybody could go on OnlyFans and see that. Anybody could go on OF and see that. I got an OF page. What the that don't prove nothing. What the is wrong with y'all, bro? Hey, keep it, wait, keep it gangster. Are y'all serious right now or are y'all trolling? Y'all serious? Oh, y'all dead. Okay. On my life, God strike me down, send me to hell right now. On my soul, on everything I love, that dude is lying. I could die right now today. God strike me down. I put it on my life. I put it on my life, a soul. I put it on my heartbeat. That is not true, bro. Now, if that don't do it for y'all, I don't know what the y'all want me to say. And then if you don't believe me after that, I don't give a I don't give a cause it ain't what's the big deal? What the
And let's not forget, this ain't the first time hints were dropped. Vivica Fox threw her own shade years ago while revisiting that iconic XXL cover with Soulja Boy and 50 Cent. When she was asked about 50 blaming a ratings flop on gay stuff, Vivica fired back with just a look and one line that had the whole room raising eyebrows. It was basically code for, don't think everything is what it seems. And ever since then, fans been connecting dots Soulja probably prayed stayed buried.
What were your thoughts when 50 Cent blamed the second season ratings dip on gay stuff?
First of all, The pot calling the kettle black.
Vivica Fox knew exactly what she was hinting at. This woman has been in Hollywood long enough to see behind every curtain, and she doesn't throw shade for fun. If she hinted, it was for a reason, and people never forgot it. Now, fast forward to Soulja's wild reaction to Marlon's jokes. Man went from zero to hurling transphobic shots in seconds. Textbook projection. That's what happens when you're running from your own insecurities. You start lashing out at others. But this beef didn't stay just jokes. It leveled up quick. Marlon dropped a country-style diss track, and when I tell you the internet went wild, I mean wild.
Soulja Boy is on cognac and meth. I can smell it on his breath. Yes, he's on that crest. It's cognac and meth.
The man rapped, Soulja Boy is on cack and meth. I can smell it on his breath. Yes, he's on that. It's cack. The internet lost its mind. That track wasn't just floating online, it was everywhere. It slid into group chats, blasted in club DJ sets, and even slipped onto radio stations like it was an official single overnight. Suddenly, Marlon wasn't just clowning. He was outbarring Soulja in his own lane, and people couldn't get enough of it. Then boom, TMZ cameras caught Marlon outside a restaurant in LA. You'd expect him to play it cool, maybe brush it off, but nah. He doubled down, right there on the sidewalk, going full savage mode.
You can't do two songs, and I only remember one of them. Watch me, you. And beef with me. Get out of here. Put you in one of the movies. I need a crackhead for the new scary. I need a crack and a meth head all mixed together. You're perfect. I need someone that looks like a wet Muppet. That's what I am. I need crack and meth together. I need creth together. I want someone to look like they'll sell your car, rob you, and suck all at the same time. Soulja Boy.
Marlon didn't just clap back. He delivered a verbal kill shot that had the whole internet hollering. But here's where Soulja really fumbled. He crossed a line you don't cross. He dragged Marlon's transgender son Kai into it, saying, that runs in the family. A Marlon Wayans. No wonder you like dressing up as a bee. It's in your blood. What? That's when things went from funny to flat out dangerous. Everybody in Hollywood knows everybody's secrets. They just keep them locked away until someone pushes the wrong button. By coming for Kai, Soulja basically gave Marlon the green light to air every skeleton in his closet, and that's when the real dirt started spilling. One of the biggest contradictions in Soulja Boy's image is that so-called tough guy act versus what allegedly happens when the heat is really on. And nothing exposes that contradiction louder than the infamous night at his mansion. The night that ended in gunfire, lies, and a whole legal circus. This wasn't some wild house party gone wrong. Nah, this turned into a straight-up crime scene ripped out of a TV drama. Soulja swore masked intruders stormed into his home, and he had no choice but to turn into some action hero.
My partner say, man, who the f in this crib? A-Rap passed me the... Bam, I look through the door. I see like 3-4 running through the crib. All black, mask on, running through the crib. One run to the front door. I hop out, I start shooting. Bow, 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 bow. Shot the... Bow, shot his ass. Bow, 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 bow. All the niggas run out the door. They run out the door. This nigga on the...
He even bragged later about shouting, "Get down on the floor," as he claimed to blast back at the so-called attackers. But here's where it gets messy, because the man at the center of it all, a dude named Droop, told a story that flips everything upside down. According to Soulja, it was random masked robbers. But Droop says, nah, they weren't intruders. They were his people, his own label mates. The real issue? At Soulja's album release party, they heard one of their tracks blasting through the speakers. Except this time, it had Soulja's verse slapped on top. No permission, no credit, no check cut. And it wasn't just one track. Droop claimed Soulja promised them production credits, features, even a cut of streaming revenue when they signed on. Instead, after months of writing, producing, and even choreographing his shows, they walked away with nothing. $0, zero recognition. That's when, according to Droop, the night turned violent. Soulja allegedly pulled the trigger, hitting Droop before he could even react. But here's the wildest twist. Droop didn't die. He stumbled into a car, bleeding out, and still managed to get rushed to the hospital. And when he finally woke up, he was cuffed to the bed. Yep, Soulja had already called the cops, spun his masked intruder story, and got Droop slapped with an attempted robbery charge that carried up to 25 years in prison. And the police reports? Man, they only made the whole thing look sketchier. First, Soulja claimed 5 masked men stormed his crib. Later, the number magically dropped to 3. Those kinds of inconsistencies don't just raise eyebrows, they make people wonder if the so-called robbery was nothing more than a cover-up to hide Soulja's own mess. And it gets wilder. The weapons he described kept switching up too. One minute it was pistols, then it turned into AKs, then something else entirely, depending on who he was talking to. But Droop wasn't folding that easy. He pulled in powerhouse lawyer Brian Steele, the same dude holding down Young Thug. And within weeks, Steele shredded the prosecution's case like paper. With no solid evidence, the whole thing collapsed. And Droop ended up serving about a year total, counting the 9 months he'd already been locked up. Here's where it goes next level. Soulja's own former right-hand man, Arab, backed up Droop's version. And remember, Arab and Soulja had already fallen out long before, so he had no reason to ride for him. Arab admitted his voice was literally shaking when he described that masked intruder situation, meaning something traumatic definitely went down. But to this day, the streets are split on who's really telling the truth. And here's the kicker. Droop's story wasn't some one-off. Multiple artists have come forward saying the exact same thing. Soulja reels them in with promises of money, features, and exposure, then allegedly jacks their work, slaps his name on it, and leaves them broke and forgotten. That pattern of exploitation doesn't stop at music. It bleeds into everything Soulja touches. But Marlon wasn't done. He clapped back with precision. He posted, if Soulja Boy had a career, he could get canceled for this type of slander. Luckily, he ain't been relevant since 2007. That jab had the internet howling, but then he twisted the knife, adding, my child had top surgery and still has more chest than you. Boom. 2 million likes in hours. That wasn't shade, that was domination. And the fallout? Loud. Marlon's empire speaks for itself. From In Living Color to White Chicks to sold-out stand-up tours, he's built a legacy across decades. Meanwhile, Soulja's still stretching Crank That like it's stuck on repeat from 2007, while hustling knockoff schemes nobody's buying. The industry noticed too. A-listers lined up behind Marlon, while Soulja's corner looked emptier than his so-called gaming console shelves. Even artists who once worked with him suddenly acted like they didn't even know him. That silence was deafening, and it told the whole story about where Soulja really stands in the game. Right now, the fallout is slamming Soulja in real time. 3 major sponsors already cut ties. His streaming numbers are sinking like a rock, and his name is trending for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, Marlon is stacking wins like it's light work. He's being inducted into the NAACP Image Awards Hall of Fame, locking in brand new studio deals for LGBTQ+ centered projects, and his social media is exploding. Every post pulling insane engagement. Remember when he flexed about being the first rapper with his own gaming console? Yeah, turns out it was nothing but a rebranded knockoff emulator from overseas, sold at sky-high prices. Or how about when he bragged about copping a mega mansion that later got exposed as nothing more than an Airbnb rental? And let's not forget that shady crypto stunt at Trump's inauguration, where he basically admitted he only pulls up for whoever drops the biggest bag.
They pay me a bag. Obama ain't never put no money in my pocket. Kamala ain't never put no money in my pocket. Trump put money in my...
All those contradictions explain exactly why Marlon's jokes cut so deep. He wasn't just roasting Soulja for laughs, he was pulling the mask off a man whose entire empire was built on shaky foundations and smoke and mirrors flexing. Instead of building something real, Soulja was busy panicking, and it showed. The man started scrubbing his whole timeline clean the moment he realized the narrative was slipping out of his hands. He even tried a half apology, typing out, "I apologize for crashing out. I'd just be trying to defend myself." But sometimes I take it too far. Back to the music and TV shows. Love y'all. But by then, it was way too late. The damage was already locked in. What makes this feud hit different is how it exposed the underbelly of Hollywood's unspoken code. Certain topics are off limits until someone stomps over that invisible line. And when Soulja aimed those transphobic shots at Marlon's son Kai, he didn't just cross the line, he set it on fire. See, Marlon has been nothing but solid about supporting Kai's journey. Just this past June, he shared pride photos with a caption that had people calling him Father of the Year. He wrote, "As a father of a child in the LGBTQ+ community, I show my support. Zero cost, don't care what people think. If I lost you, good." That cemented Marlon as a real one, and the LGBTQ+ community stood tall behind him. So when Soulja disrespected Kai, Protect Kai started trending everywhere. And with that came a tidal wave of backlash. Brand deals Soulja was banking on, gone overnight. Money talks, and it screamed, "We're good on you, Soulja." Sure, Soulja may have pioneered internet rap marketing back in the MySpace era, era. But in 2025, he just got cooked by somebody who knows exactly how to move in the digital streets. Marlon played this beef like chess, step by step. First the slick text, then the shady pics, then that country-style diss track that went viral overnight. This wasn't just comedy, it was a masterclass on how to flip a beef into respect, momentum, and money. Meanwhile, Soulja's sitting there looking like he studied the wrong playbook. And here's the cold truth. When your whole image is built on cap, you don't come for a comedy legends kid, especially not one with decades of Hollywood connects and all the receipts people been whispering about you for years. So let's check the scoreboard. Marlon's walking away with W's, Hall of Fame honors, new studio deals, and non-stop public love. Soulja, his closet's empty, his corner's quiet, and the mask has finally slipped. At this point, it's bigger than beef. It's a case study in how fast the industry can flip on you once the smoke clears. Soulja thought he could clown Marlon and still control the story, but the opposite happened. Hollywood has long memories, and when you spend years burning bridges and flexing with smoke and mirrors moves, folks just sit back, wait for you to slip, and let you drown. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Insiders are whispering that Soulja's meltdown opened the floodgates. Suddenly, people who stayed quiet for years are speaking up about shady business deals, unpaid collabs, and ghosted features. One producer even claimed, "Soulja had me working 6 months straight. Promised placements, then ghosted me once he got what he needed." And that's just the beginning of the storm. That kind of story isn't rare, it's a pattern. And now the streets are finally paying attention. Meanwhile, Marlon's rise out of this mess proves just how much the game has shifted. He didn't need a blockbuster movie or a giant promo run. He weaponized the internet itself. He let Soulja spiral in public, then hit back piece by piece, turning jokes into virality, and virality into respect. By the time that country-style diss track dropped, Marlon wasn't just defending his son, he was rewriting the rule book on how to end a beef in 2025. And the contrast couldn't be louder. Marlon's name is being celebrated at award shows, with doors flying open for new projects left and right. Soulja, his once legendary status as the first to do it internet rapper, is now buried under chaos, drama, and non-stop credibility questions. The man who used to scream, "first to do it," now looks like the last one anybody wants to stand next to. Because in this industry, reputation is currency. And right now, Marlon's stock is skyrocketing, while Soulja's value is falling apart right in front of us. If these whispers keep stacking, this won't just be the end of a beef. It could be the final nail in the coffin for Soulja's spot in hip-hop history. Every skeleton Soulja thought he buried is now out here dancing in broad daylight, and the whole industry's watching. What started as one little joke from Marlon snowballed into a cultural takedown that nobody saw coming. And let's be honest, this might go down as one of the wildest beefs we've seen in years. But here's the big question. Who do you think really won? Was it Soulja, still clinging to that first rapper to do it legacy? Or was it Marlon, flipping his comedy chops into a masterclass on exposing someone's weakest spots? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The debate is far from over. And let's be real, this doesn't feel finished. Industry whispers say Soulja's closet still has more skeletons waiting to spill. Stories that haven't even cracked the surface yet. If that's true, this might not be the storm's end. It could be the ugly beginning. And the next chapter? It could get way messier and way harder for him to bounce back. So shout out to everybody who rocked with us through this saga. You're the real MVPs. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next drop. And don't stop here. Click the next video on your screen for even more celebrity drama. Because if this Soulja versus Marlon feud taught us anything, it's that Hollywood never sleeps and the tea never stops spilling.